It's your boy DJMellymel live on another episode of The Cage, brought to you by Two Brothers Mobile Auto Repair Service. What's better than one mechanic? Two Brothers Mobile Auto Repair Service. Take care of all your mechanical needs and roadside assistance in Palm Beach County. Guys, we got a good one for you today. And I want to give a special shout out to everybody out there on social media as we started this journey. Um, it's been a process, that I will tell you that. And so, now that we're able to kind of consistently get things going, we can bring you more episodes consistently. So just shouts out to all of the supporters and all the haters too. I love the haters too. All the DMs that I've been getting on a constant day-to-day basis, man, I love all of that. So that's awesome. But man, today's topic is a great one, might I add. Okay, it is the best state championship team from Palm Beach County since 2012. Now, with that, I have to give some honorable mentions, and I have it on my screen here. You have to give a special shout out to Carter Newman, Murray Smith, 2000 championship team. Benjamin, Coach Johnson, 2001, class of 2A. The Wire '04 class, Lee My Gold Wire, Lonzo, Big Joe, that whole dynasty that they had there. Even in 2005, Fred Brown, Keon Carter, and the likes of those guys. And also Dwyer's 2011 5A state championship team, which had Jacoby Brissett, Vic, Gregory Lewis, phenomenal teams. But for this particular argument, we did 2012 and present because there's more data to back up a lot of these arguments. The analytics got better. Max Prep started doing a better job of tracking statistics. So, we're going to, for the sake of the argument, we're going to do top Palm Beach County teams from 2012 to now. Okay. And we have four options here. Grandview Prep, 2013 Class 2A, went 30-2. Wellington High School at 2015 Class 8A, 29-3. St. Andrews 2023 A Class 26-5. And Dwyer 2023 6A, 29-1 record. Okay. Now, let's just give a little bit of context here because, when I was thinking about the best teams to ever be assembled or the best state championship run, right? I you got to look at a couple things. You have to look at how dominant that team was. Coaching plays a big part in that. Strength of schedule. And most importantly, those athletes, where are they now? What are they doing? Because that should kind of tell you how kind of dominant these teams were. And I did rank them. And for me, this was a tough one. Okay. And I know a lot of people are going to get really upset with me about this. Okay. But at number 4 for best run for a state championship, I'm going to give to Dwyer class of 23 that had a record of 29-1. Now, here's why. And I know my Dwyer family out there is probably going to nail me to the cross, but it's real, right? This is the cage. That's what we do. We give interesting perspective, okay? And it's unbiased. And guess what? I said what I said, okay? That Dwyer team featured predominantly all seniors, and Kyle McNeil went to play at FIU, but he played football. Blake Wilson, College of Staten Island, high major Division II prospect. And Mason Brown, Nelson Atulis, Indian River, Evan Dozier, Carolina University. So I think for that particular team, their run to the state championship was a little bit easier than the others. And here's why. They had 4 home playoff games, which home court advantage is a tremendous advantage, and you're not going to punish them for that. But it's the one glaring loss for me, and that was against Lake Worth. Now, when they played Lake Worth, they were not healthy. So I'm not going to just sit here and say that Lake Worth just totally dominated them. But with Dwyer, it's more so the after the math of it. Because when we think about best state championship teams, I want to factor in what level of ball did they play after they left. And we only had really one kid from that Dwyer team that went off to go play high level Division II basketball. Everybody else fell to that NAIA and JUCO, which there's nothing wrong with that. But for me, I just was looking at the totality of it all, the whole overall experience. So I got the Panthers coming in at number 4. Okay. Now this was tough. Number 3, I'm gonna go Grandview Prep. Grandview Prep, I put them a little bit over Dwyer because they were 30-2, so they had a better record, and their strength of schedule was a little bit more difficult. And that team featured Ivan Connect, who was a Division I prospect at Stephen Foston, uh, Eric Minutes, Sean Walsh. I mean, that team was probably one of the best teams I physically have ever seen coached. I mean, and there were even more players like Roy Jones Jr.'s son. I mean, that team, man, they were so dominant. I mean, they were beating all of the Broward teams, the Miami teams. I mean, that team, nobody wanted any pressure with Grandview Prep. And I think what Coach Dawson has been able to do there has been tremendous. And he's by far I think, one of the best coaches in Palm Beach County. So for me, I think Grandview Prep, they had a better record. And as far as the talent pool, I thought they were a much better team. And their competition for me is what put them just a slight edge over Dwyer, because that strength of schedule was something serious, man. They were beating Andrew Jackson. They were beating some really good Miami schools at the time. So I got Grandview Prep at number 3. Now, here's for me, it was a little bit of a toss-up until I did some digging with this one. I'm going to go number 2 is going to be Wellington High School. Now, everybody knows what I think about Coach Matt Collin over at Wellington. I think Wellington's program has been by far one of the better programs in the area. And I think Coach Matt is probably one of the better coaches. You know, he's in that pool with Fred Ross, Coach J.D. Pasquelli, the Lorenzo Hands, the J.R. Gambles of the world. Like, when you talk legendary coaches, Coach Matt is definitely in the conversation. Wellington 2015 class was 29-3. Again, strength of schedule played a big piece in that. They beat a lot of Miami teams that year. They beat a lot of Fort Lauderdale teams, and their state championship victory was by 1 point to a very good team. So, that team featured Lester Gates, who was at Palm Beach Lakes. I got a chance to watch at Wellington. He ended up going to the University of Lewis and Clark. Alex went to Clayton State. Trent Frazier, and we all know the type of player that Trent Frazier was, and considered one of the greatest scorers in the University of Illinois history. Okay, and still playing professionally overseas, having a great career. So Trent Frazier for me might be one of the top 5 best Palm Beach County players I've ever seen, and I'm talking about me. I remember as a student in high school watching Trent Frazier play. I mean, every night you just knew he was going to go for 30 every night. Trent Frazier to me was a generational talent, and what he was able to do even after they won a state championship, because people don't know, Wellington won in 2015, but Wellington went back twice to the Final Four. And a large part of that was because of what Trent Frazier was able to do for that Wellington community. If I'm not mistaken, I think Trent Frazier might be the only player in the history of Palm Beach County to have a travel basketball jersey retired. The city of Wellington and Wellington Wolves organization retired that number. So I thought that was pretty cool. But man, Wellington, that 2015 class, I think definitely will come to number 2 on my list. And like I said, that team was loaded. I mean, they had Bureau, they had Gates, they had Frazier. I mean, they were loaded with talent, okay? But I think the best state championship run has to go to St. Andrews. Yep. And listen, here's why I say St. Andrews. Strength of schedule. They played some. Now, St. Andrews is a small private school. Let's just be real. They're a 3A private school. So when you think of 3A private schools, you don't think of them getting all of the talent. Let's just start there. And their strength of schedule was ridiculous. I mean, they play again a lot of tough Broward teams, Miami teams. And if you see the trend, even Dwyer beat Stranahan that year that they won a state championship. If you look at if you really want to be a state championship team in Palm Beach County, you have to go down south to go get your reps in. Because guess what? If you wait till the end of the season to play a team from Miami in the playoffs or Broward in the playoffs, you're probably going to lose because basketball and active sports in general are a little bit different down in Miami. And that's a conversation for another day. But the amount of attention and detail that's given to Fort Lauderdale and Miami schools for sports is just, it's almost unfair for Palm Beach County. But Palm Beach County doesn't prioritize sports. We prioritize the education, which there's nothing wrong with that. But I'm just saying our kids are not prepared to go against those kind of kids. So so strength of schedule played a big part of it. They were 26-5. So again, the record, yes, but the strength of schedule played a part in that because they did lose to some pretty good teams, and their margin of losses were by less than 5 or less than 10 for the most part. Okay, but if you look at that roster, Devin Hines, University of Lafayette, Division One, Anquan Bolden Jr., University of Buffalo, Division One, Yusuf Bazo Alama, University of Miami, and the University of Yale, and then Joshua Monat, University of Memphis, and he's in the NBA right now. So you have 4 Division One talent, and 1 is in the league. And I believe that if one of these other guys get the opportunity, because I always thought that Devin Hines was a hell of an athlete, right, and a hell of a scorer. But I think they can possibly squeeze out another high major Division One because Anquan Bolden Jr. is going to have a shot. Yosef, now that he's at University of Miami, he's going to have a shot. And even Devin at University of Lafayette, I shout out to my staff there. I got some guys up there, man. So, it's going to be unique. It's going to be interesting to see. But if I had to give it, I believe the best state championship runs, the Dwyer class of 23 for 6A at number 4. Grandview Prep class of 2013 at number 3. Wellington High School class of 2015 at number 2. But St. Andrews class of 2022 or class of 2020, 3A, they had the best state championship run. 4 Division One athletes. 1 is in the pro right now, doing well, might I add. So that is the take on Palm Beach County State Championship teams. For more information, for more updates on the cage, make sure you subscribe to Rangeman Films YouTube channel. And guys, remember, what's better than one mechanic? 2 brothers. Peace.